Alright, it's not my ideal setup, but this is just gonna have to do for now. Um, Welcome back, everybody. It is long overdue that I make this video. This is going to be the State of the Bay 2025 off season. I try to do these every year. I think I've done it for, I think this is my third or fourth year doing it now. Just a brief overview of everything that happened over the course of the off season for the Packers. Seeing as the Hall of Fame game starts in about an hour, it is the unofficial start of the 2025 NFL season. So that is pretty exciting. Uh, Going forward, actually, rather where we left off, my last video I made was the Chicago Bears beat the Green Bay Packers in week 18 of the regular season this past year. And that was all the way back in January. So let's cover everything that has occurred since. So the Packers lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion Eagles in the wild card round. Put up a good fight, but the Eagles were just too good, and they are your Super Bowl champs. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. So congrats to the Eagles for that. Next big thing that happened in the offseason was the NFL draft. The NFL draft took place in Green Bay this year, so that was pretty cool. I have my notes here of all the Packers picks. I'll just briefly go over them. Try to keep it short. I don't want to make this a 30-minute video. So, um, yeah, the Packers picks in the first round. The Packers at pick 23 selected, for the first time since 2002, they selected a wide receiver in the first round. Matthew Golden out of Texas. Um, from what I've seen so far, he looks really good. Definitely size and speed combination, and I think he's going to fit right in the offense. The second round pick, pick number 54, was offensive tackle Anthony Belton out of NC State or North Carolina State. I think he is a depth piece. He's a draft and develop. He's a project. The Packers are historically pretty good at drafting and developing linemen. So I don't expect him to be a starter this year or probably even next, but 3 years from now, he could be a very solid piece on the offensive line. Round three pick, pick number 87, another wide receiver, Savion Williams out of TCU. Another draft and develop piece. I think he will be heavily involved in special teams this year, and then if he develops, he will be, more integrated into the offense. Pick Round four, pick number 124, we have a defensive lineman, Baron Sorrell, another player out of Texas. Um, I think he is another draft and develop piece, another interior lineman. The Packers are looking for someone to pair with Kenny Clark to have a strong interior defensive front. So maybe he fits that mold. We'll see. Round five, pick number 159, another defensive lineman, Colin Oliver out of Oklahoma State. Same thing as Baron Terrell. It's a draft and develop. If he has the talent, he'll start. I don't expect him to, but 2 or 3 years from now, we'll see. And then in round six, pick number 198, we have a defensive lineman, Warren Brinson out of Georgia. Another defensive lineman. The Packers just took three defensive linemen in a row. Hopefully, one of them pans out and can be a starter for multiple years to come. And then the last two picks in the seventh round, pick number 237, the Packers selected a corner, Micah Robinson out of Tulane. At the time, the Packers still had Jaire Alexander on the roster, so that is probably why they waited until round 7 to draft a cornerback. Um, yeah, he'll be a special teams guy. He will be a depth piece, and who knows what happens 2 years from now. And then the final pick that the Packers made in round 7, pick number 250, another offensive lineman, John Williams out of Cincinnati. And he might not even be on the roster in a few weeks' time. Depth piece, draft and develop. We'll see what happens there. That was all the Packers picks. I thought they did a pretty good job, especially selecting Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, and Anthony Belton. The first three picks I thought were pretty solid. And I mean, time will tell. You can't really grade a draft until 3 to 4 years time. We'll see how they pan out, but from what I've seen so far, looks pretty good. The next thing that I previously mentioned, Jaire Alexander, his situation. The Packers did end up cutting Jair Alexander. He is no longer with the team. He signed with the Baltimore Ravens. The Packers really wanted Jair Alexander to take a big pay cut, being as he only played 7 games each of the last 2 seasons, and the best ability is availability, and Jair just hasn't been available for the past 2 years. So the Packers did want to keep him, but for much cheaper than what he thought he was worth, which is fair. So he went to Baltimore. And then other free agency news that I have here, the last little bit of news I have, I'll try to wrap this up. The Packers re signed linebacker Isaiah McDuffie to a 2 year, $8 million deal. He is a rotational, I believe he's an interior linebacker. Had some good plays last year and the year before, so good that they kept him. The Packers also, I believe, the biggest signing they made this year, they re signed kicker Brandon McManus to a 3 year, $15.3 million deal. He has been really consistent. He's been the post Mason Crosby era hero for the Green Bay Packers, so glad to have him on the team for the foreseeable future. Let's see what else we have here. The Packers also signed in free agency a cornerback, Nate Hobbs from Las Vegas. He was most likely going to be the Jair replacement. He was signed to a 4 year, $48 million deal. Definitely not the same level as Jair, but I don't know. I've seen some clips from training camp. He looks all right, so we'll see what happens there. The Packers also signed an offensive guard, Aaron Banks. I believe he is going to end up playing left guard, but I think he can play either position as well. He was signed from San Francisco. He was signed to a 4 year, $77 million deal. So the Packers made less significant moves in free agency this year than they did last year, of course, with Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. But good moves, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll see. And then the last free agency signing, the Packers also signed another wide receiver, Mecole Hardman. He came from Kansas City. I think he'll be a special teams guy. Could make his way into the rotation. We'll see what happens there. And then the last little piece I have here going into training camp is the Packers also extended right tackle Zach Tom, signed him to a 4 year, $88 million extension, which comes with a $30.2 million signing bonus, which is the highest ever for an offensive lineman. So, way to go, Zach Tom. Definitely earned that contract, and that is a huge signing bonus. So, dinner's on him. That is all the news I have for now. The Hall of Fame game is tonight. Preseason starts, I would assume, next week, and I don't really have any big plans for like a schedule prediction. I'll try to get a week 1 prediction out. The Packers open the season at home against Detroit, so that should be a great game. But for the next month or so, it's just kind of wait and see what the roster will look like, and yeah, enjoy the preseason, and I'll see you in the next one.